dear Gemini, this is your love and spirituality reading for the month of December 2018 with me, Queen of Cups Tarot. We are soon entering into the Sagittarius season, so wish all Sagittarius out there a happy birthday. I hope you have had a lovely November. I myself have had time to recuperate and have some days off. I have been able to both rest and get a lot of work done that was falling behind. I feel much more in balance between the work I do and free time in this new organization. So if you want a personal reading with me, you can go to my website www.queenofcupstarot.se and check out the process. I read for the signs in the order of most liked videos, so hit the thumbs up button for your sign. You can see the order I read in this time around at the community section of my channel. And thank you all for liking, watching, commenting, donating and subscribing to my channel. I am so grateful for all of your appreciation. This is a general reading for Sun, Moon and Rising sign. For some people that watch, the story I read can be in reversed. The energy is the same. You're all part of the whole, the drama that's made for you, but it can be different castings to the different roles by the universe. For this reading, I will use the Druidcraft Tarot by Philip and Stephanie Carr-Gome, illustrated by Will Worthington, and I will start shuffling your cards. So, my dear Gemini, see what's in store for you. So, when I open the deck here, I see the High Priestess and Three of Pentacles. So it seems like you're working very much on your spirituality at this moment to connect yourself with the spirits and with your own tools of intuition, like your thoughts and your feelings and your hunches and your guesses. And we can see in both these pictures are cats. So it's showing you being very independent at the moment, but in the same time kind of ready to work together with other people and make a progress. So it seems very harmonious, like you're on top of things, being able to make good progress. Okay, so I call the divine with love and light, and we have a runner. Yes, it's the High Priestess with the Three of Pentacles. Yes, it's the 2 and the 3 also. 2 is the High Priestess, it's Lilith energy, and 3 it's the Empress, so the Eve energy. So it's both, it's very, very feminine strengths, this what you are working with. So I call the divine with love and light, and here we have the Ferret together with the High Priestess. So we can see on both these pictures are very scientific ladies that is one is reading and one is doing experiments and having a big pot cooking here. One is doing so in the light of the moon. The other one is doing so with being watched over by a rainbow. So it seems like spirit energies are watching over you and seeing your progress. And yeah, it's like you're experimenting, trying new different things, using your wisdom to be able to make this kind of success that you seem to be manifesting. Okay, so I call the 4 archangels in the 4 corners of the world, and here we have, wow, the High Priest together with the High Priestess. So you're not only doing this, you're doing this work on your own, it seems, with yourself and the divine, but you're also doing this with the divine masculine counterpart. So the High Priest is the divine masculine, and this is the divine feminine in the like 5D dimension. And okay, the Ferret wants to show themselves. Yes, 14 here, 1 + 4 is 5. So this is kind of the old society, all the knowledge we have obtained up till now, and this is how we make it new, by new experience, new discoveries, new ways of doing things. So it's taking the old and building something new. It's new inventions. So something is going on here. Things are being discovered or built that we haven't seen before. Not in a very long time anyways. Nothing is new underneath the sun. We have the sun there and the moon card and the moon there. So the moon is ruling the High Priestess. And this is Taurus energy, Pisces energy, Taurus energy. Okay, so I call the 6 elements Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, Spirit, and Ether to join us here today and to give us a clear view reading for my dear Gemini viewers. So I want my dear Geminis to have love in their lives and to find themselves in loving relationships. I also want you to have creative success and to be able to work on your highest path towards your highest destiny. So what I felt also with the divine masculine and the divine feminine is that you are working on balancing this inside yourself. One of these great aspects have been your shadow earlier, and you have tried to behave accordingly, maybe by culture expectations. I saw the Eight of Swords flashing by there, so you have been trying to tame yourself or make yourself in a way that was representable or made you being liked by others. So either you have pressed down your divine masculine and therefore not being able to be stubborn, full of self-respect, having this kind of notion that you are right and not giving up on your point of view, things like this. Or you might have denied your more feminine aspect, that might be your intuition, your feelings, your connection with the divine straight through your heart, what you just knew without knowing how you knew it, and love and support, things like this. So either of these sides of you haven't been as respected and as loved by you or as welcomed inside of you as the other aspect, but that's probably going to change with the process that you're going through now. It's not going to be even a conflict. I think it's happening in the now. Gemini is becoming very balanced with their masculine and their feminine side. So that's beautiful. Okay, so I'm just going to tune in here for a few seconds to your energy, Gemini, the time of December, and this reading in general. Okay, so my dear Gemini, this is your future there, and this is your now, and this is your past. So in the past we have the Seven of Pentacles. So it seems like there have been delay in the past. You weren't able to get instant gratification in the things you were working on, or in the relationships you had, or in the career you have chosen. And you needed to practice the element of patience, and maybe putting more work in and seeing where what didn't work and try to fix that. So it's like trial and error adjustment, having times of solitude to kind of trying to see what is a little bit off target and what needs to be fixed. In this picture we can see a person harvesting mistletoe to prepare for spring. So it's not it was not spring at this time, it was deep winter, but a preparation was made to be able in the future to get actually a harvest for your great effort, all the energy that you have put into this, your project, whatever it was. Okay, and this is in the now, and here we have Ace of Swords. So it seems like there has happened some kind of opening. It might be that a message have come true, or you have been able to see something clearer, like having an epiphany. It's also that you feel much more supported by the divine at this point. You were supported by the divine all the time, but with the Seven of Pentacles you might have felt abandoned, or maybe you felt like they didn't align with your course, or that your dreams wasn't the same as the universal dreams, but they were the same all the time. It was just not the exact right timing for making that kind of progress that you sought for. But now it seems to be a bigger opening. But the Ace of Swords comes, it's like blood, sweat and tears, victory at last. So it's not an easy win. Even if the gateway is open now, it's not going to be an easy win. You're going to have to like Jean d'Arc yourself through these challenges, being always in connection with your intuition and step by step feeling your way forward. What's the right thing to do. So being connected also with universal justice by feeling inside of you what's the correct thing to do. And messages might come true that you have waited for a very long time, that you might have given up hope also about this. And here we have a King of Swords. So either you are involved with an Aquarius, another Gemini, or a Libra, or this is you, showing this clarity of mind that you have. You haven't given up, even if there has been winter and you haven't seen the rewards of your plans. You still haven't given up. You are very sure on the direction. So it seems that you don't do the usual should I, shouldn't I, that's typical for Gemini, or the typical maybe that you want to do that but you can't because of this and this and this, or you do that but then you regret because that and that happened. Now you're much more assured. Even if things go wrong, so to speak, you're still very like you're still agreeing with yourself that you are on the right road. So it's a much more calmer energy that's shown through this. Some of you might be dealing with a person that's a little bit hard to connect with emotionally, or it might be you that's in this way. You just look at the logic of the situation. So the dimension of feelings might be missing, but that was not what I saw in the beginning. So it might be an outside element that still hasn't balance the masculine and the feminine inside of them. So you might be waiting for that, for the progress with another person maybe. So that might have been what caused the delay. And here we have your past, and we have another swords person here, a little princess of swords, fighting with the ace of swords in her hand for freedom and justice. So it's very much this Jeanne d'Arc energy, having a mission and doing God's will on earth, but still not getting really the rewards. So sometimes or often it's like this for people. They make great changes, but they are not being able to harvest the fruit of that change themselves. Look at people all over the world. We can take Jeanne d'Arc. It didn't end well for her. Martin Luther King, it didn't end well for him. I can keep on counting. We have Jesus on the earth level. It didn't end well for him. All the witches that were on earth for a very long time, druid witches and other type of shamanistic witches and so on, they had an enormous wisdom of how to heal the human body and how to work in accordingly with nature, even though their progress was stolen by pharmaceutical companies of that time, and they never got credit for it. They actually got burned on stake. So and that's not a sad thing so much as it is the condition of progress. That progress takes time. We are not always here to see the effect of our work, or we are not always being able to see get the reward. But if we could see it from a God or a goddess point of view, we would see that we are a beautiful thread in this beautiful web of creation, and our little thread is making all the difference. If it wasn't there, it would be a hole in the creation. So we are doing important work even if we don't get credit for it. So it's kind of like that. Okay. And the next card is Five of Wands. So that's your actual reward for standing up with the truth and saying what really matters, and fighting for the weak, and maybe standing up for your inner child. It's conflict. So getting burned on stake, or having powerful people taking you down. This is in connection with 5 is the high priest that we saw. The old society, the old culture, that holds the knowledge of the old, but always needs to change to not get stiff and rigid. But there's always be element that will fight this change and not wanting the new progress that Gemini see for the humanity. So with the Five of Wands, don't expect people to join you and help you so much, as they will oppose you and struggle against you. But that's just natural. It's what it is. So you will have to stand up for yourself and for your beliefs, or for your dream. and here we can see you doing so. So it can feel very unfulfilling and like you are not supported, since this is how things goes down, but you are supported. Look at how you're supporting yourself. So the story goes, she needed a hero, so she became one. You needed someone to stand up and fight for you, so you did it yourself. Whatever you need, justice, love, in this time you learn to give it to yourself. So it's very beautiful. It seems like you have been through some kind of challenge and you made it through with flying colors. So I can say that I'm proud of Gemini. And it starts with the Seven of Pentacles and it ends with the Seven of Wands. So both your patience and your strength has been tested. And I think that at least you you succeeded very well when it came to the strength. Maybe you still feel a little bit impatient and think that things would have been better by now. But it is what it is. It's the serenity prayer that we need to accept the things we cannot change and change the things that we can. And we can see that you are working very hard with changing the things that you can. But sometimes some people doesn't want to change, and then you need to leave it at that. Don't mind what happens. Don't take things personally. You do the best you can, and the rest is left up to the divine or other people. So you don't have to take it all the way. You do your part, your thread, and other will do their part. Okay, so that was in the past, some kind of conflict or struggle that you succeeded with. Okay, and here in the now we have the Two of Wands. On this position, Leo had Two of Pentacles and had a little bit of a similar energy to their reading. So it might be that you are going through a little bit the same thing, being the Childs of Summer. I will also read for Cancer later today, so we'll see what's going on with them. Gemini, Cancer, Leo, it's the summer month, at least in the northern hemisphere. So Two of Wands, you have mastered the situation. You didn't let things get to you. You didn't take it personally. You didn't back down. So you have shown good judgment and perfect stubbornness. So this card is connected to the High Priest, the feminine High Priest, the Divine Feminine. This is connected to the Divine Masculine, and we also have it connecting to Justice and Judgment card. So it's about making choices, standing in the doorway, kind of deciding who are a friend and who are a foe, who are behaving in a good way, so you will let them in, and who are not, and you let them stand on the outside until they can behave, kind of, is what I'm feeling here. So even though you might want to say something or approach someone, or there might be some message that wants to come through here with the Princess of Swords and the Ace of Swords, you're waiting for the right timing, and that is accordingly to what you have learned here with the Seven of Pentacles. Learning patience, not rushing into things, but knowing when the exact time is. Maybe, if, for example, if you have a fallout with a person, you don't immediately call them up as soon as you get something in your mind that you want to say to them. You just collect these things, what you want to say to them, and when the right time is presented, you choose then what of these things you want to say. So it's a coolness with this. You have it's a passionate energy with the Princess of Swords. It's very young and sometimes irrational and speaking the truth even if your voice shakes, kind of energy. But here we see some little bit more growth, like a person being a little bit more adult about things. They know what they want to say, but they wait for the right time to say it. So it might be that you have something cooking inside of you, something important that you need to say to someone, but you're waiting for the right time. Or it might be in the opposite, someone is waiting for the right time to tell you something, and for now it's like a hold on, like keeping self-control a little bit. And here we have the moon, and this is usually what makes our self-control go out the door or the window, because when we get anxious, we just need to call that person up and sort it out right away. We can't stand having a fallout or having a person acting rude towards us and not being able to say it. So when the moon comes up, when things comes up like this, when you start to feel anxious, it might be actually your intuition telling you that you need to do something. It might also be a wound that's calling to your attention. It's very hard to see the difference, and we can only learn the difference by experience. So we need to make mistakes and sometimes be over anxious and calling people and fixing things immediately and just seeing that that was not the best way of doing this. It could have been better if I first kept my balance and then went in and tried to sort the conflict, maybe after some water has run underneath the bridge, so that everyone could calm down and maybe come to a situation where they both wanted to reconcile. But sometimes there's a rush, and you can feel this in many different occasions. You suddenly feel an uncomfortable feeling and you just need to check out if that person is all right, or if someone is doing something behind your back. Or so we shouldn't blind ourselves to the red flags, even if they scare us a little bit and make us unsettled. Whenever you feel unsettled like this, stay with that. Important messages are on their way, either about your wound or it's a red flag about something that needs to be dealt with immediately. Okay, so it might be that you want to keep your cool, but there's something that is a little bit more a rush to fix. It can be different for different people, so you really need to listen to your intuition. This is the moon, and we had also the high priestess, so you're definitely working with things like this, trying to probably learn what's what. So learning the language of your feelings, learning the language of the spirits, learning the language of signs and your total intuition. The next card is a Princess of Cups. So we have a Princess of Swords here with a Princess of Cups. So Princess of Swords is something that you have already mastered since you were a little child. It's like the energy you were born with. This is energy that you need to master during this lifetime. Some of you have a twin flame, possibly a water sign. Doesn't have to be like that, but one of you is experts when it comes to the realm of logic, and the other person will be an expert when it comes to the realm of feelings, and each of you needs to learn from the other person. And here it's you or someone needing to learn about this with emotions, probably both. Okay, even if you're an expert in the realm of emotion, you still need to learn to what's what. Okay, so this feeling in my stomach that's a little bit to the left, it might mean that I'm hungry. If it's a little bit to the right, it might mean that someone is about to come and visit me, and I can't lay here in the sofa and watch telly. I need to fix coffee and get myself ready. And so we're going to learn eventually what our intuition wants to tell us. So it's like you're polishing your antennas here. This antenna, fighting for freedom and justice and where your boundaries are at and what people are allowed to say to you and not, and how they are allowed to treat you and not. And here it's about how to deal with your own emotions, your own inner warning system, and also to calibrate your warning system, you need to heal first, because if you have a lot of wounds, those will mess a little bit with your signals, because you won't know if this is someone triggering your wound and it's not something happening in the real world. For example, feeling jealous, maybe it's just a wound being triggered and not actually a situation to be jealous of. So before we have healed ourselves, we can't 100% trust our intuition, because it will sometimes tell us you're wounded, you're wounded, you're wounded, and in other cases it will tell you warning of wound, warning of something that needs to have you need to have your attention to. And it doesn't have to be bad things. It can be we are getting anxious when something beautiful is going to happen. You can feel like a racehorse stuck in a starting box and waiting for the race to begin, and that might trigger this anxiousness because it's a luck that's waiting around the corner. Maybe you're waiting for your most loved to come home, or getting something in the mail about something that you are waited for. So anxiousness can be telling both of good and bad things you need to be warned of and good things that are about to come. So this is something we need to learn, and it's something that we usually are not particularly good at because we have been scared of our emotions our whole life. And here it's about calibrating them instead, knowing what's what. And Ace of Swords, so calibrating and sharpening your intuition, I would say. And yes, it might be also some loving message coming through, maybe from a person that you have had a falling out and that now misses you. And maybe you have shut the door on them, and maybe you have, it might even be like some kind of block, but this person still wants to connect with you, and maybe also saying that they're sorry. Maybe they understand your point of view by now. So, and this is your future, and we have the 10 of Swords coming in underneath the Prince of Swords and the 2 of Wands. So this is someone being defeated, and I'm seeing multiple different scenarios here. So I'm going to start with the one that comes the most strongest, and it seems like someone might regret closing the door on someone, and feeling like they made a mistake by keeping someone out. Maybe you were very suspicious towards someone that actually loved you a great deal. Maybe they're quarreling with you because they really wanted to work on the relationship. So some of you, it might be that. For others of you, it might be that a person approaching you looking nice might not be as nice as you think. Okay, it might be backstabbing, or we can go back to the thing I said before. It might just be in your mind. So many of you will have a very suspicious mind that you are going to have to learn to decipher. Okay, so what's your wound and what's actual fear, and how fearful do you need to be? Okay, is this a situation that you can't deal with if it actually would happen? Imagine this, that there's a couple and one is expecting the other person of being unfaithful. So first, a very spiritual question could be, does it really matter to you what the other person does when they are not with you? Do you own them all the time? I know that I wouldn't like anyone to be unfaithful towards me, and it would hurt me a great deal. But that kind of question to yourself might make you in a more balanced state, being much more able to make a clear decision. And also, if the person is unfaithful, does it matter if you are knowing it now or if you get to know it later? Is it just a notion of being fooled, being taken behind the light, or being like like someone is covering up something, lying about something? Is that so very harmful, and why? And why is usually because you don't want to be fooled. Why do you don't want to be fooled? Your ego doesn't want to be fooled. It's not your soul that doesn't want to be fooled. It's never fooled. But your ego doesn't want to be fooled. It doesn't want to hear 3 years later that you suspected someone to be unfaithful and they actually were, and you were fooled. That will make it really like seeing someone biting their teeth like this, and that's the ego. And if you can't trust someone, it doesn't have to be infidelity. It can be about money or something that needs to be done in a certain kind of way, and maybe someone is too juvenile to do it. It can be different kind of things. You don't trust the person. If you don't trust them, should you really be doing business with them? Should you really be in a relationship with them? Should you really do this work with them? And if you are going to do the work with them, maybe you need to brief a little bit more before you put things into action, being sure that the things that's going to be done is going to be done in the right way. If we are going to build a construction, we are not going to set a beginner in building the foundation and just hope that it's going to be all right, just because we don't want to be rude towards that person and saying, well, are you really sure you know how to build this foundation? So we might need to chat about it, have a conflict about it, and put some boundaries. I don't care if you get hurt in this situation. This is too important, and I need to be able to also be calm, that you know what to do, I know what to do, everyone knows their place. So it might be like that. But with the Ten of Swords, sometimes it might be a person that's too much like that as well. Needs control over everything. Why do you need control? What happens if someone else do it and they don't do it as great? If someone is vacuuming your living room floor and doing it and leaving crumbs, is that a big problem? At least they're practicing on vacuuming. Okay. So sometimes we need to leave all these control issues behind. We can't control what other people will do, if they will betray us or not. If we don't feel comfortable with a person, we either need to address that or find other people that we can be more comfortable with. It's just like that. Can't you trust your partner? Find another partner or talk with your partner until you learn to trust each other. So it's when we don't do anything and we just sit there and kind of we don't trust our own instincts, that might be what's driving us crazy. But if we actually, okay, I trust my instincts, I'm constantly upset with this person because this, so I'm choosing to trust myself and that this person actually is the way I think they are, and what is the consequences of that? Might limit our relationship, or we need to address this and see if the person will change their mind, and if not, other measures needs to be taken. So it's about taking yourself seriously or not trying to control the situation. It's either or, you can't have it both. So it seems like people are a little bit beginner into dealing with these kind of things. Trusting myself, trusting the other person, trusting that they won't betray me, or actually trusting myself that they will betray me. So this is questions that you need to deal with. But what I saw in the beginning is telling me that Gemini has the power to do so with flying colors. Here it more looks like you are babies and you're having a big problem of dealing with this, but it seems like, yes, you are babies at this time. You haven't done this successfully in this lifetime, but from what I saw with the beginning cards, you have the wisdom from other lifetimes, so you can trust yourself in this. You don't have to feel like you can't rely on yourself. You can. I'm very sure. Okay, so this is the more of the future, and we have the Nine of Wands. So you decide probably that, no, I can't trust this person, or it's like I thought, it's like I suspected, and from now on I will have my guards up. So the Nine of Wands is a rather bitter person. We can see this on his little face here. He has been hurt and he's not going to let anyone hurt him again. So from now on he's trusting his own instincts. Next time he feels worried like that, he knows enemies are at the door, okay, and they're trying to hurt him, and he's going to defend himself. So it's of course a little part of this is defending your ego, but the ego it's there to see to that you are surviving this lifetime as long as you were destined to. A very, very spiritual person would maybe say, okay, do what you want with me, I don't care. This life, everything will turn to ashes anyway. But here we have a little bit of ego, and we want to take care of ourselves. We want to be good towards ourselves, probably taking care of our inner child as well, not letting it get betrayed, because it might be in that way also that usually you might be very guarding, but then for some reason you let your guard down a little bit and immediately you get hurt. So sometimes it can be self-fulfilling prophecies as well. If we think the worst about people, they will show us their worth and the worst. And Ten of Swords might be a symptom of that when we are thinking very negatively, negative thoughts. But when we do, we need to go with that. It's the same if you are overly angry person. You need to show your anger as long as the anger is there. You don't have to, break other people's stuff or drive your car into a wall. You can just say, I'm very upset right now. I'm super angry. Okay. And when we have done so enough, that emotion is calibrated. And then we can use it in moderation. Here it's like a person being very suspicious. So be suspicious all you want, to the bottom of your heart, to the bottom of your mind, as suspicious as you want. believe every negative thought you have and go with it. So it will calibrate. And then you will have the tool of suspicion, and it will be calibrated so it will be used at the right time. If we do something to the extreme, we will know everything about that tool, and that will make us a master over that tool. So sometimes we need to be overly suspicious for a period of time until we have been taught that kind of notion and be able to know what's true and what's false in this situation. So I'm thinking you are going to calibrate your suspicious minds, and teaching your inner children to not go with bad people, or to, even if you love them, don't trust them if it feels bad. Kind of things like that is what I'm seeing. And the last card is 8 of Swords. So here I think we have the core issue, and it's what's flashed by when I shuffle the cards as well. And it's the 8 of Swords. You want to be loved, so you don't want to have a suspicious mind. You don't want to destroy your relationship, burning bridges and tossing out your lovers because you don't trust them, because you want to be loved by them. But with the 8 of Swords, you can't make everyone love you. You need to be yourself, no matter the consequences. So my advice is still be yourself to the fullest of the full, and take whatever consequences that comes, because if you haven't ride this train of this energy that wants to come, either it's suspicion, or it might be I'm feeling mostly suspicion and not trusting, but it can also be other things, anger maybe, or bitterness. So if you need to be bitter, for example, be as bitter as you want, regardless of what other people think of you, because this is something that needs to be calibrated. So you might need to be overly something that's very Gemini-like. It's swords here a lot. We have King of Swords, 10 of Swords, 8 of Swords. 8 of Swords is Gemini. This is, I think it's Aquarius. This is Sagittarius energy. And we have Leo and Mars in Leo here. And the very beautiful Princess of Cups. So I think in what you're fighting for is this kind of energy, like your inner fragileness. You need to be sure that you can protect yourself. If you are sure that you will and can protect yourself, you will be able to be in whatever kind of circumstance, because you can trust yourself. So some of you might be overly anxious of going into a relationship. You can't even let your love show. Why? Because someone might use that love against you. But if you calibrate this kind of energy, being suspicious, bitter, angry, all these kind of things, you will be able to protect this little person, and therefore you will be able to go into a relationship. And whenever you feel like, I can't trust this person, they will know that you don't trust them, and they will either have to change and make you trust them, or you will follow your instincts that you don't trust them and walk away. And this is how you protect your inner child, not by avoiding love altogether, or avoiding taking chances, or avoiding going into some new project or some endeavor or some career. How you protect yourself is by trusting your own instincts, and I think this is what you're dealing with right now. And some of you might be dealing with people being like this, so then you can understand them, that why they refuse to open their heart is because they are so scared of loving someone that might not be worth it. So there's a song here. I just hear the melody, but yes, okay, now I know. It's too good at goodbyes. So that probably fits for some of you, this being too good at goodbyes, or you're dealing with someone that's too good at goodbyes, and now you know why. Because they know that it's bad to be suspicious, and they know that it's bad to hold their heart locked in like this. It's locked in, from being red to being blue and lonely and tied up. So because you think you can't defend yourself. So they don't let themselves love people or open their heart or let anyone close to them, because they are suspicious and they don't trust people, but they also know that it's bad, so they are trying to keep it on the low, but that just keeps it in the shadow. So what they need to do is to show the suspicious minds in open curtains and play out the drama, calibrate it, and then be a normal person. So kind of what I see here. So I will read a card for you, and it's going to be the Eight of Swords. I'm feeling that this is the card that needs to be addressed. Eight of Swords. You may be feeling caught or trapped in a situation as if you are the victim of circumstances or of another person, and you could be experiencing confusion, fear, and loneliness as a result. Remember, though, that the number 8 signifies completion and manifestation. Is connected with the Strength card, and the swords signify the power of mind. There is the potential for completion and therefore an ending of the situation, and the card is suggesting that the way this can be achieved lies in the correct use of the mind. Your sense of being trapped or bound may stem from the belief you hold or your attitude. Just as the mind imprisons, so it can set us free. Even if you are the victim of a very real situation, imprisonment being one of many possibilities, how you experience the situation and ultimately how you find liberation from it will depend on how you use your mind. Until you realize this, you will feel trapped, but once you take up the sword of your mind and use it at its deepest level to liberate yourself internally, you will discover that it's easier to free yourself or walk away from a situation than you imagined. Because you might feel stuck between a rock and a hard place. You love the person, but you don't trust them. So both can be there. You can love the person, but if you don't trust them, you shouldn't be in a relationship with them. So continue loving them, but walk away. That could be, it's easy to say, but it's hard to do. But the one that's keeping you captivated is yourself because of the fear of the consequences. The way to access this level of mind is through the wisdom of the heart and through spiritual practice. So it may be helpful to stop trying to think your way out of a situation and focus instead of building your spiritual practice and on meditation. The hardest situation in life often offers the greatest spiritual rewards when the initiation they represent is fully lived through and realized. So I'm thinking you are going to free yourself, but not before you have trusted yourself to the fullest, no matter the consequences. Okay. Cards or card from Oracle of the Angels by Mario Duguay. See what's going on with your Gemini here. Some advice from my dear Gemini for December, how to deal with this tricky situation. And I feel I have a card here and also that one. Well, fine. It's very short card, so I can take several. So higher thought. I feel that you are ascending into something. It's just a little bit difficult to deal with this. It's like you're standing at a doorway and a stairway to something that will liberate you totally, but you're hesitating because you don't fully trust yourself. But trust your own instincts, even the one that threatens to destroy everything, because you need to go with them to be able to master them, regardless of the cost that this will bring. Because when you have gone with them and calibrated them, they won't no longer haunt you like this and make your life difficult with this suspicion and thinking things about people and situations. You are going to trust yourself and just, okay, so if I feel like that, must be it. And you're going to go with it, and you're going to be able to keep you calm and be adult about it and be the bigger person and sort out the situation instead of standing being kidnapped by a situation that's not good for either you or maybe the other person. So I'm going to read that eventually. Door to the infinitive. So again, you're standing at the door. It's kind of similar cards, 10, 16. So it's like some kind of clouds here are lifting. And this is actually it's a practice that I do, that I have in my spiritual school. And it's about having the Merkaba of your body. It's a energy field of your body being up and running, being able to clean out any kind of difficult feeling or emotions. But when you can't deal with it yourself, you send it to the center of the galaxy, the Milky Way, for example, and let that kind of, it's like a black hole in that sense, but it's really the Merkaba of the galaxy, and let that Merkaba deal with the things that you can't deal with, because you are put here like a chess figurine, and you are supposed to deal with the energy that's on your space, but it's not always doable. So sometimes you need to send it away to get some kind of relief and be able to move on with the next thing. So if you have excruciating pain, stay with it as long as you have the stomach for it, and then with the remedies you let your Merkaba deal with it and send it away like energy. And if you are still feeling like very low vibrating, send the rest of the remedies to the universe, making shadows into light, okay, taking problematic traumas, past life memories, difficult situations, and turning it again into light and information. It's a very beautiful spiritual practice. Awareness, so being aware of the spirit guides around you, and that you are never alone, and you're very well taken care of, and you are part of a divine plan. And 34, liberation. So I'm thinking this is connected to the 8 of Swords card, where you will be liberating and get some kind of epiphany by just being you, by just accepting that you are a great spiritual creature, and that you don't have to bend yourself to some kind of culture knowledge that you shouldn't be suspicious and you shouldn't be jealous. Be suspicious and jealous, but act upon it, not by controlling the other person, but more by either talking with them or stepping away. Higher thoughts. Sometimes in moments of darkness and despair, all it takes to feel better is a decision to lift our thoughts to a higher, more positive place. Simple action like seeking the company of an old friend or taking a walk in nature can often help to move us out of the negative perspective, giving us a new vantage point from which to view the current situation. With my will to work in the light, I lift up my thoughts to God and to the beauty and simplicity everywhere around me. So God is it's different levels. We have the central sun that might be the central sun of the whole universe, and we have the Milky Way. You can turn to whatever space you want to help you deal with these energies. I accept, I let go, and I welcome the opportunity to discover the positive side of every situation. And whenever you use a spiritual practice and you feel that you want to make adjustments, something that feels better for you, always go with your own intuition, because you have the answers, not me. I just maybe show you in the direction, and then you use the spiritual practice to make it even better, suiting you even better. Okay. And spending time in stillness can help you connect with the infinitive nature of your being, the eternal part of you that is always connected with the divine. Taking time out to be quiet in nature or to practice yoga or meditation will be very beneficial to you over the coming weeks. Inside me is a door to the infinitive. I take the time to go to my heart center and link up with heaven. In this serene place, I'm eternal. Through this inner journey, I am able to see beyond life's challenges and reach the higher levels of my existence. My inner light is my greatest strength and my greatest wealth. Beautiful. So it's about kind of upgrading your vibration. You might have been working very hard with staying with the pain, and now it's time for the next level where you actually heighten your vibration. And here we have 15, awareness. Practice living in a state of awareness where you are conscious of every thought and feeling that passes through you. Start to notice the energy of these thoughts and emotions and ask yourself if they are serving you, assisting you to live according to your true purpose and potential. And if they're not, you can just change like some words. Instead of saying, that person doesn't love me, you can say, I accept that I feel like this person doesn't love me. You don't have to change your perception, like the thing that you have come forward to. Trust yourself, but you just change the laying of the land or the use of the words. If you find that they are not, make a conscious decision assisting you to live accordingly to your true purpose and potential. If you find that they are not, make a conscious decision to change these thoughts and feelings in the very moment that you notice them to ones that are more positive and uplifting. So, practicing listening to your feelings, listening to your thoughts, and sometimes you will be lost in dreaming and falling away in some train of thought, and then you will wake up again, and then you start to practice again. You can write down also your thoughts, and when you find different strokes of energy that might be negative, just stay with them, because whatever will be put in the tension of your light will themselves become light. And when you have done this practice, it's like mindfulness, what is, accepting what is, rolling out the red carpet to what is. Then you go into meditation practice, and that is heightening your frequencies. So first figuring out, okay, what's the state of myself right now, healing what can be healed, and then when you're starting to get done, you heighten your vibration. For example, by breathing in light, or by thinking about things that you are grateful for, small things, the warmth in the room, the breath in your nose, or a sip of water, whatever, small things that just put you in a state of happy vibration. And then also you can do this with sending away the residue energy to the central sun or to the Milky Way, whatever feels good for you. I'm conscious of each thought and feeling that I manifest. I am mindful of what I create in this universe. I'm an expression of the divine light. Beautiful. So, 34, liberation. That's the goal of this reading, because we have the 8 of Swords. That's the need for liberation. Okay, 34. If you have been feeling frustrated by the lack of action and stagnant energy in your life right now, it may be time to reconsider your need for some of your material possessions. Sometimes we tend to focus on accumulating more stuff in order to fill a void within, or to avoid facing our true feelings. Decluttering, 8 of Swords is very good. Decluttering is a good way to get unstuck. Where were I? Yes. Decluttering your living space and spending less time distracting yourself with material possession can be incredibly liberating and empower you to make important changes in your life for your own well-being. So instead of being on internet, you can go and meditate, and be bored is a very good thing as well. I free myself from a dependence on the material objects in my life. I liberate myself and improve the flow of energy in my life by clearing my clutter. So liberating and ascending in the same time. Being bored is a very good measurement of your spiritual state and your emotional state. If you get crazy when you are bored, then there's a lot of things inside of you that's out of balance, and then start to be bored just a few seconds, and maybe a minute, and 5 minutes, or 2 minutes if 5 minutes is too much, and then 10 minutes, and so on, and start to be bored and more longer and longer periods of time. That's an excellent, simple spiritual practice, being bored. And I'm going to take some card from Notes of the Universe on Love and Connection as well. So, for my dear Gemini on love, thank you. That you have options is meaningful. Rock on. If I could make just 2 wishes, I'd wish I could somehow convey to you the profound depths of my gratitude for every moment of your life. I also wish that you could somehow know of your unimaginable importance, just as you now are to the lives of so many. And of course, I wish for even more wishes. Oh shoot, you were such a good idea, the universe. So it kind of says, don't fret, don't be anxious. You're perfect in the way you are. You don't have to change a single thing if you don't want to. Just trust yourself. I think that's the most important thing for now, is to trust yourself. That even if there's negative thoughts and feelings coming up, trust them and follow them, because they need to be trusted and followed. You need to prove that you trust yourself. There's another card here was falling out. Everyone is doing their best. There are really only two types of people, those you now love and those you will love, until there's only one type of person left. And then we'll probably hit replay, the game of life, the universe. So you might have a lot of enemies right now, but in the end, when universe is done, the love will have prevailed, and you will again not have enemies and love everyone. And then we hit replay, breath in, breath out, and time for new experiences. Okay, so my beautiful Gemini, I hope this helped. I want you to take really, really good care, and I also want to welcome you back to my January reading that will make in the middle of December. Okay, bye bye.